The whisper of soul hung suspended in the velvet void, a fragile silver seed against the infinite tapestry of the Andromeda galaxy. Inside its humming core, Dr. Eris Thorne felt the familiar, gnawing ache, not of hunger or fatigue, but of profound, echoing loneliness. He was humanity's farthest flung explorer, a century adrift from Earth, chasing whispers of a signal that defied all known physics. The Ethelgard pulse. It wasn't just a transmission, it was a presence, a complex, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through the very fabric of space-time, carrying something, not data, not language, but an essence, a feeling. Eris had dedicated his life to this chase. While others sought new worlds or resources, he sought connection. He'd left behind a world increasingly fractured, where communication had devolved into noise, and genuine understanding felt like a relic. The pulse, detected decades ago by deep space arrays, offered a tantalizing alternative, proof that consciousness, perhaps even empathy, could resonate across the cosmic gulf. Now, after decades of pursuit, he was finally within range of its source, a seemingly empty region of space designated Sector Theta 7. Final approach vector confirmed. Eris, chimed the ship's owl. Lyra, her voice calm, synthetic, yet imbued with a warmth Aris had programmed long ago. Passive sensors detect no stellar bodies, no debris fields, just the pulse, stronger than ever. Eris leaned forward, his knuckles white on the armrests of the command chair. On the main view screen, the star field shimmered undisturbed. Yet the internal sensors painted a different picture. The pulse wasn't just sound. It manifested as subtle fluctuations in local gravity, minute warps in quantum foam, a symphony of space-time itself. It felt alive, not biological, but conscious. Observant. Lyra, initiate the resonance array, full spectrum analysis. Let's see if we can talk back. His voice was rough, unused for days beyond necessary commands. The whisper's hull thrummed as intricate crystalline. Lattices extended from its flanks, glowing with soft internal light. Eris fed the core harmonic signature of the pulse into the array, then overlaid it with simple human concepts. Curiosity, peace, the image of a single, outstretched hand. He held his breath, watching the sensor readouts flicker. For hours, nothing changed. The pulse continued its steady, enigmatic thrum. Disappointment, cold and heavy, began to settle in Aris's chest. Had he been chasing a phantom, a cosmic echo with no source? He slumped back, the weight of a century of solitude pressing down. He thought of Earth, the vibrant blue marble now a distant memory. Its oceans choked, its skies hazy, its people shouting past each other in digital cacophony. He'd fled that noise, seeking silence only to find a deeper, more profound silence here.
Then Lyra's voice cut through his despair, sharp with surprise. Eris, the pulse. It's responding. On the screen, the waveform of the pulse shifted. The steady hum fractured, then reformed into a complex layered pattern. It wasn't mimicking his signal. It was answering. The resonance array lit up, translating the space-time vibrations into sensory data Eris could comprehend. Not words, but impressions. He saw swirling nebulae coalescing into intricate, fractal patterns that pulsed with gentle light. He felt the cool, smooth texture of something vast and ancient, like polished obsidian under starlight. He sensed a profound, patient stillness, a depth of time that dwarfed human history, and beneath it all a current of recognition, not of him, Eris Thorne, but of the intent behind his signal. The loneliness he'd projected, the yearning for connection. It had been heard. Tears pricked Eris's eyes. He wasn't alone in the void. He quickly composed a new response, pouring his relief, his awe, his simple, human gratitude into the array. He sent images of Earth's oceans, forests, the laughter of children, a sound he hadn't heard in decades, the quiet beauty of a sunset over mountains. He sent the concept of home, The response this time was immediate and overwhelming. The pulse surged, not in volume, but in complexity. The resonance array struggled to interpret the flood of information. Eris gasped as sensations flooded his mind. Eris recognized it instantly. It was the echo of Earth. Not the Earth of his childhood memories, but the Earth now, the one he'd fled. The pulse wasn't just a beacon, it was a cosmic archive, a repository of resonant experiences, feelings imprinted onto the fabric of reality itself. And Earth's pain, its frantic, self-destructive noise, had become a discordant note in the universal symphony, loud enough to be heard across galaxies.
The realization struck him like a physical blow. He hadn't just found an alien intelligence. He'd found a mirror, and the reflection was devastating. His quest for connection beyond the stars had led him back to the very wound he'd tried to escape. The loneliness he felt wasn't just his own. It was the amplified echo of a planet tearing itself apart, broadcasting its despair into the cosmos. "Lyra," he whispered, his voice thick. "Record everything. Every resonance, every echo." He spent days, then weeks, in communion with the pulse. He learned its name, not a word, but a concept, the weave. It wasn't a single entity, but a network, a consciousness formed from the accumulated resonant experiences of countless civilizations, natural phenomena, and the universe itself. It existed in the spaces between, in the vibrations of space-time, observing, remembering, feeling. It didn't intervene. It resonated. It absorbed the echoes of existence and reflected them back, amplified, offering perspective, offering understanding. Eris shared humanity's story, its soaring achievements in art and science, its capacity for breathtaking kindness, its relentless curiosity that had sent him here. He also shared its failures, its greed, its fear, its deafening noise that drowned out its own better nature. The weave listened, its responses a blend of sorrow for the pain and awe for the potential. It showed him glimpses of other civilizations that had faced similar crossroads, some that had harmonized, their echoes becoming gentle, sustaining notes in the weave, others that had shattered, their final, dissonant screams fading into cosmic static. One night, as the whisper drifted in the silent heart of Theta 7, bathed in the gentle luminescence of the resonance array, Eris understood his true purpose. He wasn't just an explorer, he was a messenger. The weave couldn't speak directly to Earth. Its language was too vast, too resonant for human ears attuned only to noise. But Eris could translate. He could carry the echoes back. He wouldn't bring back alien technology or maps to new worlds. He would bring back the feeling, the profound loneliness of the universe witnessing a species choosing isolation over connection, the deep grief for beauty being destroyed, the quiet, persistent hope embodied by the weave itself, the evidence that consciousness, empathy, and unity were not just human ideals, but fundamental threads in the cosmic tapestry. His mission parameters shifted. He began compiling the data, not as scientific logs, but as a sensory narrative. He wove the resonant impressions of the weave, the sorrow for Earth, the awe at human potential, the examples of harmony from other stars, into a format designed to bypass intellect and strike directly at the heart. He used music synthesized from the pulse's harmonics, visuals translated from the space-time ripples, narratives built from the emotional echoes. He called it simply the echoes. The journey back would take decades, but Eris no longer felt the crushing weight of solitude. He carried the weave within him now, a constant gentle hum in his bones, a reminder that he was part of something vast and interconnected. He looked out at the starfield, no longer seeing empty darkness, but a sea of resonant stories, of joys and sorrows echoing across the light years. Earth's pain was a loud, jagged note, but it wasn't the only sound. There was harmony possible. There was always harmony possible. As the whisper of soul turned its nose towards the distant, pale blue dot, Eris activated the long-range comms array, not to send a message, but to begin broadcasting the echoes on every frequency, a continuous stream of resonant truth flowing back towards the source of the discord. He knew reception might be spotty, understanding fragmented. But an echo once cast travels. It bounces. It finds its way. He settled into his chair, the hum of the ship and the deeper, older hum of the weave merging into a single comforting vibration. He was no longer just Eris Thorne, lonely explorer. He was a conduit, a carrier of echoes, and somewhere in the vast cathedral of the cosmos, the universe was listening, waiting for humanity to finally hear its own reflection in the stars and choose to sing a different song. The journey home was long, but for the first time in a century, Eris didn't feel alone. He carried the universe with him, and its echoes promised that connection, true connection, was never truly lost, only waiting to be remembered, waiting to resonate again.